Loop 5. 18! I heard Pin speaking beside me. 18, it's almost 8 now. Wake up! I felt my body being shaken. I opened my eyes slowly and narrowed them to avoid the light from the ceiling. Pin's face appeared in my line of vision. I looked around and saw that I was sleeping on the resident's bed. The clock on the wall told me it was 7:50 in the morning. Hey! I sat up, heart pounding like crazy. It's over, right? I got out of the loop of hell. I turned to look at Pin with a thrilled face and hugged her tightly. Beatine, what are you doing? Pin shouted, trying to push my shoulders away. Last night I had such a terrible nightmare. I hugged her for a while before letting her go. I dreamed I was stuck on yesterday's evening shift over and over for 3 or 4 times. And time passes so slowly, like a real time. It was a torture. Finn laughed. I think you're just stressed. Why are you sleeping here? Did you pull an all-nighter to prepare a presentation for the conference? No. I slept here after finishing the evening shift. I already did my presentation yesterday morning. Eh? Your presentation is today, isn't it? Pin turned to look at the bulletin board that had a paper on it, listing out timetables and event schedules. Today is the 18th. Look here, it's your name. I covered my big yawn with my hand. You're wrong. Today's the 19th. Pin turned to look at me. No, Beatin, today's the 18th. Huh? I raised my eyebrows, hurriedly got up from the bed and walked to the shelf to pick up the backpack I left there. I picked up my phone. It said today was the 18th of March, 7:53 in the morning. I stood still, giving my brain time to process everything. This was the morning of the 18th, the morning I had to present my case at the conference. The night before the presentation, I didn't go back to my condominium because I was preparing my presentation until 4 a.m. Then I took a nap in this bed while I was waiting for the conference. At 8 o'clock, I presented the case and was destroyed by my professors. At 9 o'clock, I left for the morning shift and continued for the afternoon shift. And then I immediately put my hand in my pocket. The paper that I folded and put there before going to bed had disappeared from the bag. This was what? I slept in the dining room and woke up in the dining room, but the time went back to before I fell asleep. I slept on the bed in the resident's bedroom, and I woke up back in the moment before I last slept here. This went back farther than ever. Shit! I cursed and quickly grabbed my phone before heading straight to the meeting room that was close to the bedroom. I opened the sliding door so loudly that everyone in the meeting room turned to look at me. The room was now filled with medical students and professors waiting to hear the morning presentation, which was my turn today. I had to present again. Seriously? There, Tin came right on time. Let's get started. Professor Ma'am, also known as Dr. Surirat, looked up at the clock. Don't go over an hour. Don't go over an hour? This was the same sentence that Professor Ma'am said to me before I presented. I walked straight to the computer on the desk in front of the conference room. The file that I finished at lightning speed last night was already saved on the desktop. I took a deep breath, feeling terrible. Eden's face looked so pale. A fifth-year student whispered to her friend. Even though she tried to whisper, it was loud enough for me to hear. This was a new reaction. No one said I looked pale during the last presentation. Right, I had to do something different. Maybe what I tried was not enough to get me out of this loop. This time I went back very far from the last time. This might be my chance. What would happen if I pretended like I was sick and caused this presentation to fail? Hello, professors, all my junior residents, and medical students. I lost balance, staggering back and leaning against the wall behind me. Today, I will update about the treatment of patients with Poisonous mushrooms in the emergency room. What's wrong, Tin? Professor Ma'am asked out of concern. I raised my hand to say that I was fine while making a very sick face. Yes, Professor. I stopped talking, standing still, looking at the ground for so long that the juniors in the front row seats started to panic. I pressed for the next slide. This is the statistics of patients who ate poisonous mushrooms and went to the emergency room last year. Now it was the time for my inner drama queen to shine. I collapsed onto the floor and put my hands on my head. Someone shouted. A few medical students rushed toward me to check my condition. I waved them away. Professor Mom stood up hastily and walked to me. She had a look of concern. Something was rarely seen from this young and beautiful but brutal professor. Go get some rest at the back of the ER first. The presentation can be postponed till a later date. Students, help carry Tin to the bed. She instructed the medical students to carry me to the back of the emergency room, which was the area for treating and checking mild cases. They diligently put a blood pressure monitor and a heart rate monitor on me, making me secretly feel guilty for pretending to be sick like this. But I was confident that every event today would change completely. Then I got hurt for free because the professor ordered a blood test on me to check my sugar level, the proportion of red blood cells in my blood, and the minerals in my body. I frowned as the nurse inserted a needle through the skin into my arm. Seeing my resident friend popped his face into the curtain. I heard you fainted, Singh said with a cheeky smile. He was a handsome young man with glasses who graduated from medical school the same year as me. He and I used to flirt with the same nurses 2 years ago, but both of us got dumped because she went out with a surgery professor. We had been close friends ever since. We went overboard last night? Yeah, way overboard. I worked till morning to get the presentation done. I raised my hand to massage my temples, making a tired face. Okay, get some sleep first. When the lab test comes out, I'll let you know. I'll do the morning shift for you to repeat the favor that you did my shift that day. I almost jumped out of bed when I heard Singh say it, but I had to stop because then I would not look like a sick person. I'm okay. I think I can do it. Just let me sleep for a second. I refused to make it more convincing. No, you have to sleep. Last time you came to help me, and it's not even your shift. My patient survived because of you. Give me the chance to repay you. Singh reached out and squeezed my shoulder. If you get out of bed, I will kick your nuts. Ouch. I grasped my crutch. Singh laughed, cursed me a few more obscene words, and walked away. Then I realized something. If it was someone else who was on duty instead of me tonight, would that young patient survive? But it would be too much to beg Singh to do my shift for me until midnight. I must be his wife to ask for something like that. I lay there staring at the ceiling in silence for a long time. What would the patient be doing right now? He could be in a classroom, reading in the university's library, or on a date with his girlfriend. Did he know he was going to die tonight? That handsome, promising student was going to have a fatal accident. I bounced up to a sitting position. What if he knew he was going to die tonight? What if I went and warned him, telling him to be careful when driving or, if possible, not to leave his house tonight? This was probably the most sensible thing I could think of right now. I hurriedly got up from bed. Fortunately, my professor did not have someone administer the sodium chloride injection for me, so I could easily sneak to the computer at the nurse's counter. I needed to know the name of that patient so I could find him. Then I realized when I opened the screen that there would not be any future patient lists for me to see right now. Damn it, I cursed. A male nurse working nearby turned to look at me and made a shocked face. Dr. Tin, what are you doing here? You should go back to rest first. The patient, what's his name? I was so occupied that I could not remember the patient's name. I had a feeling it started with the letter S. Sala Supacorn or Supachay something. He was 20 years old, probably 22. He wore a student uniform, but I did not know which university or faculty it was. I lightly slapped the keyboard out of frustration. Finding the identity of the person I met in the future would be nearly as impossible as searching for aliens. I could remember the face of the patient, the nature of the accident, and the moment of performing CPR, but I could not remember his name. I would only know when I saw that patient again. This meant that I had to go back to that moment just to get the patient's name. Was there a way I could reduce the time it took for the patient to get to the hospital? If I slept in the dining room, would my time move forward as usual, or would I wake up when AIM came to wake me up? I wouldn't know unless I tried. Pitoy, do you have any sleeping pills? I turned to the middle aged nurse beside me. I don't think I have. Toy turned to look in the pill box that had been sent from the medicine room by the doctor. You can't sleep, right? Ask Dr. Singh to prescribe it for you and I'll take it to your bed. I nodded and walked toward Singh, who was checking on a patient. After getting the pill, I would secretly go to sleep at the dining table. I wanted to try and see if I fell asleep at the dining table before the patient came, how would time flow? If time moved forward normally, I would wake up to the shift to remember the name of that patient and then go back to sleep in the resident bed like last night. No matter who you are, I will find you. You must survive the night. End of loop 5.